Okay, so hello and welcome. Episode 1, WMPCS podcast. Here on our crew today, we have me, David, Mr. Mitro, and Raven, and our tech boy, Charlie.
Hey, Charlie.
Hello.
Yeah, he's just kind of here. So today's episode will be about kind of traditions of, what's the word I'm looking for?
Holidays.
It's gonna holidays.
It's gonna be a Mod Podge today. Some interesting historical references. We're going to do a little bit of Hannukah, which we know is already over. It was pretty early this year. I think it started in November or December, early December 2nd, I believe.
Yeah, December 2nd.
One of the students' favorite history pieces, as I say incorrectly, they pointed out the Christmas truth and about World War I. So that would be cool. And then we're gonna do everyone's favorite holiday, Festivus, which I'm excited to discuss about with everyone. And if you don't know, you'll learn shortly.
Trust me, if you know, you know. You're in the know.
You're in the know. Let's if Hannukah was earlier this year, let's start off with a little bit of Hannukah.
David, you can start this discussion. You know, you're more in the backstory.
You can sing the Adam Sandler version, right? The harmonious Adam Sandler remix right there for us.
I may have to consider that.
Yeah. No, but Hanukkah is a Jewish holiday, obviously. You probably already knew that. And it's based off kind of, in the 2nd century BC, the Jews were held by, Greco-Syrians, which are basically, they were called the Seleucids. And it wasn't the first, time not Syrians, Jews were taken control of by, an external force. So, there's that. That happened, and then this empire started coming up out of the Jews, the Maccabean Empire, and they took back the Holy Land, and
just so you don't run into issues with this, can you stop loudly proclaiming the word Jews?
When you say it like that, it has people instantly think of a derogatory sense, but there's no derogatory to that. That's who they are. They're Jewish people. They're Jews.
Yeah. But I mean, he the way he says
I know,
it,
but I mean,
and he just put so much emphasis on Jews.
I mean, the same thing happens in class when we're talking about whether it's the Holocaust or World War II, and you say Jewish people, instantly their ears get perked because it's a sensitive issue nowadays, and it's always been throughout history, and that's kind of what we're learning, the foundation of some of the Jewish traditions. It's a big holiday around this time, so I guess it's for the Jews.
Another little fun fact is it actually is not called Hanukkah. That is the American, I don't know how to,
Americanized thing.
I guess, Americanized term. It actually is just from a Hebrew word, I'm going to try and pronounce this correctly, Chanukah.
Yep, that's it, yep.
And, and it basically, in Hebrew, it means dedication. And
Hanukkah.
Oh, sorry. I ruined that for you.
It's fine. It's because
Hanukkah.
Yeah.
Hanukkah.
So it was named after the Holy Temple, and it's got many traditions to it. I mean, I'm sure you've heard of the classic ones like dreidels and gelt and menorahs.
Yeah.
Gelt?
Yep.
You don't know what gelt is?
No.
I believe this might be a little past the scope of my research.
Gelt. It's traditionally when it started when all the Jewish people were going a little bit bankrupt, I guess you could say. And so instead of handing out money, they would hand out chocolate coins, or in their terms, gelt.
I remember.
And they called it
about
gelt.
this.
And they passed out chocolate coins to everybody instead of actual currency. And it's just become a tradition since then. I mean, yeah, that's all there's really say about it. But the largest one has to be the menorah. I'm sure everybody has at least seen or heard or have had something to do with the menorah.
I can actually go into why they do the menorah. It's basically a symbol of Israel, the whole, kin caboodle. It's, when they light the candles for 7 days, because there's 9 candles on a menorah.
Oh, I don't know.
And throughout the entire Hanukkah celebration,
I thought there's 7 candles.
There's 9.
There's 9.
There's 9?
Yep, there's 9.
There's supposed to be 7.
It says 9.
Oh yeah, 7 for the week.
Mine
Right.
says 9.
No.
No.
Oh, there is 9.
There is 9.
There
I told
is 9.
Knew it.
You just had a short one.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say the 7 thing was a guess.
Well, it has to do with you're going into that. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I was going into
I'm going to
that,
take
yeah.
David's thunder
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
Go
no,
ahead.
Like I was saying, it's basically the symbol of Israel. Well, kind of a symbol of Israel, not the symbol of Israel, because Israel's way bigger than Hanukkah. And, well, the first Hanukkah happened in the 2nd century, as I was going on about. They didn't actually have enough, lighting for the candles, so basically for those 7 days, they thought they weren't going to have any candle, for, symbol of Israel. So, because they only had 1, liter of olive oil to light the candles with. But somehow, miraculously, the 1 bit of olive oil lasted throughout the entire, I think it was, 9 days is like a week and 2 days, yeah. So, yeah, that's the whole thing about the menorah. And, that's why I think it's, such a wide symbol of Israel, because it's very recognizable. If you see a menorah on, a TV, you can see that, and automatically recognize that's Jewish culture or a symbol of Hanukkah.
Mm-hmm. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool right now.
It's an odd shape, yeah.
Oh, that's a nice candle lamp.
It's
if
a
you
nice
will.
candle.
At
Were
North
they
Carolina.
scented though?
No.
Yeah, because it's olive oil. It's not really a.
At the North Carolina Art Museum in Raleigh right now, they actually have a Jewish art exhibit.
Exhibit.
Yeah,
Exhibit?
alright.
Yeah.
And Miss Lachlan actually was just there. She's the ELA teacher here, and she took pictures of the menorah that Barack Obama lit last time during Hanukkah, and they have it's beautiful, silver, very elegant.
Yeah.
But they have a whole exhibit there of Jewish art and things like that at the North Carolina Art Museum. Is anyone going to talk about the dreidel? Do I need to take that?
Nate, do you have something on that?
I
I just did menorah.
I didn't do anything on the dreidel, but I find it interesting that you said that it was made out of silver, because I was reading that most traditional menorahs are made out of gold, because of the entire symbolism
white
of,
gold.
of
Well,
that's true.
Yeah, a lot of Jewish artifacts are made out of gold.
Yeah, the entire symbolism, not symbolism,
It
but
totally could have been gold. I was just assuming.
okay, yeah, but they're most traditionally made with gold.
Now we're
because
going to get
of-
sued by the North Carolina Museum of Art.
Why? Just because we
Expedition.
mentioned their name?
Expedition in itself. But the dreidel, that's kind of the secondary iconic figure of Hanukkah, and it's based off of a old gambling game. It's a 4-sided spinning tetome, and tetomes are old world, kind of like a toy or gambling device. That was used, hundreds of years ago. One of my favorite books by Edgar Allan Poe, The System of Dr. Tarr and Professor Feather. One of the patients in the asylum said he was transformed into a tetome, and it's kind of like a spinning top per se, and it's in a bunch of different pieces of literature. I think it was in The Looking Glass. It's just a kind of a gambling spinning top, but with the dreidel, it has each side has a different Hebrew letter or number, and they used it during the holidays. It's one of your iconic figures.
Yeah, if we want to go into iconics, I guess you could say traditions. I know I'm using that word a lot and pretty vaguely, but it would be probably the food on Hanukkah.
Before you get into the food, is there a specific time that there is to use the dreidel, or do they just do it whenever?
Oh, you mean like Dreidel Thursday?
Oh, that's a thing.
What a
No.
great
No, I genuinely would have thought that was a thing.
No, I don't. I would assume, from my understanding, from my friends that were Jewish and celebrated Hanukkah, I would like to, when all the family's together, during the lighting of the candle oil, when the family's together.
Now, is there a specific person that lights the candle each time, or?
priest, maybe?
I think usually it's
That would be a rabbi.
Oh, right.
Priest.
My Christianity is me.
Yeah.
That's beyond the scope of my research, and I feel like I failed a lot of my Jewish friends for not knowing that. But we can make that into our editing page. As last week we talked about, we're going to try to add anything that we falsely claimed. We'll get to the bottom of that silver menorah, and we'll find out who lights the menorah.
well, as I started.
Till next time.
Yeah. Till next time on Dragon Ball Z.
Too soon.
next time on why am I saying next time? I'm stuck on Dragon Ball
And
Z.
we're going.
You're gonna start talking about the food.
It's fine. Yeah, I was about to start talking about food. The most I wouldn't say second most largest thing that people do on Hanukkah is eat food, just like any holiday.
Yeah.
You get together, you eat a big meal, but they don't really. As I was looking into it, they don't really have a big meal. I mean, they have a lot of finger foods and pastries and stuff like that. And one that I actually have, I can't remember the name of it, save the life of me. But my grandmother makes them almost every Christmas time.
Oh, the dessert?
Yeah, there was a dessert, and it's basically like a cinnamon roll, but not.
They're smaller. They're often filled with pecans or walnuts. Or
Yeah, they're usually filled with cinnamon and some type of nut.
cinnamon,
Yeah, it's pretty much just
Wow.
like a cinnamon roll, but like
but better.
but better.
Smaller as well, right? Bite
Yeah,
size.
they're like I don't know. They're kind of like the shape or texture would be like kind of a croissant, but
flaky.
yeah, like very flaky, like puff pastry and cinnamon.
It sounds like what is that? Ooh, I'm gonna say it wrong. Is it Turkish? Baklava.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
baklava.
That's not Turkish, is it?
No.
Greek.
Yeah. I think it's Greek. Yeah.
I think it's.
Yeah.
I remember because I remember talking to. I think I was talking to a Greek person and they said something about Turkey stealing the recipe. I don't know. It was a whole thing. I was like, okay. I don't want to get into that with baklava.
But anyway, every Christmas time, my grandmother makes them, and I've always wondered what they were or where they came from. But I learned that Poland has a very big Jewish influence into the entire country.
Yeah.
And my grandmother is pretty much 100% Polish, and she makes these every Christmas time. And I had realized now that they're actual traditional Hanukkah food. And another thing that is actually really questionable is when you think Jewish food, you instantly, well, I do, think about matzo balls.
Ah, the famous matzo ball
Ah.
soup.
I didn't know that.
Infamous, But
I've never heard of.
Yeah.
You've never heard
Made
of
me
a
remember just
matzo
like
ball?
what? Made
Yeah.
me remember like what are y'all
have
talking
none
about?
of you heard of matzo balls?
No,
What?
I've never.
Next,
heard
you're gonna
of
be
that.
saying you didn't have latkes before.
What's that?
You don't know what a latke is either.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, what? How does nobody know what these are?
I know what matzo balls are.
Nate, I know what we're cooking for the holiday.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm bringing her in.
I'll do latkes, you do matzo ball soup.
No, other way around.
All right, that's fine.
All right, fine.
So we're having a potluck on the last day before we're released for holiday break.
Well, tomorrow.
Tomorrow it is. I have a lot to
Well,
do.
tomorrow for us now. We don't know how long.
Yeah, this might not go out.
Whenever we
Anyway.
release it.
Yeah.
Whatever. But yeah, but there's a big debate around it, and a lot of the Jewish people are coming out and saying, hey, matzo balls are not Hanukkah food. If you go into a store that
Like
has...
year round or something.
Yeah, they're basically year round. I mean, if you go into a store that is selling Hanukkah food, they usually have a shelf that's just like matzo balls. And people are complaining about that because it's not traditional, and they find it, I guess, offensive that they think, hey, any Jewish food is being served at a Jewish holiday. And
Fascinating.
some person actually even tried to sue a grocery store for that entire reason.
Okay.
And
Don't mess with the matzo ball.
they didn't win the lawsuit.
Matzo
but,
power.
It's fine. They still
Lots
sue.
of power activate.
And just one last little food here before we move on is something that has a cool history, which is forgive me if I pronounce this wrong, a niche, I think would be it, or a niche.
Quiche.
No,
Oh, how's it spelled?
No.
not a quiche.
How's it spelled?
I'm just going.
K-N-I-S-H.
Hold on. Spell that?
S-H.
K-N-I.
K-N-I-S-H.
I think it's Kinch. I don't know.
Kinch? The
No.
N is before the I.
Q-U-I-E.
Wait, so what's a
Boy.
quiche then?
Oh, those look good.
Yeah.
Quiche
And
is
it's
like
basically
an egg
like
pie.
fried dough
Oh.
with like a sausage, or sometimes people put fruit or cheese in the middle, and can be served as like a main course, an appetizer, or a dessert, depending on how many you eat or what you put in them. And but traditional ones are this dough made with like buckwheat, and they're traditionally like round and circular.
Knish.
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 It's like a gnome, but it's a knish.
Oh gosh.
There is no
No.
silent.
You just got knished.
Ooh. Can we make that a thing? Can we start conditioning people? Just like Kanish.
Already making traditions.
Kanish.
Can you play like a 10-hour loop of Kanish?
Finish.
Kanish for 10 hours.
Sorry, that one was nice. Alright.
Okay, and so yeah, they're traditionally stuffed with potatoes and onions, and the potatoes are made in like a mash, and they add onions into it and stuff it inside of this dough, and then they well,
This is
One
awkward.
one of our crew members has had to leave.
Wait, which one of us?
Hardly know.
Oh.
David or Ray? Oh, he's gone.
Oh,
I thought I heard Raven.
the double whammy.
Wait, just hit pause.
Okay, well,
Oh.
we're back. David has left us for like the 4th time that we've tried to record this. He was.
Hey, but that's middle school for you, and that's why we're here.
You know,
I only have a couple people I can relate my Seinfeld love for. And
me being one of them.
Yes. Do you remember the episode where Kramer makes the big matzo balls for the Jewish single get together, and he's like running back and forth between Jerry's apartment, and spills all the matzo balls, and he has to get.
He spilled all of them in the floor.
Well, Frank Costanza ends up helping him out, and Frank Costanza has done other things before.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what that is?
Well, okay, I didn't get to finish my Kanish discussion.
Oh wow!
But,
Oh.
we shall. Alright, can I finish my Kanish discussion?
Whatever.
All right, yeah, Kanish discussion.
Okay, what about your Kanish?
Hey. Well, Kanish. The entire reason that it's popular at Hanukkah time is people when the migration happened, a bunch of Jewish people migrated over to New York, and they just started selling these things like wildfire. Every street corner you would go to, there would just be somebody going, "Kanishes, get your kanishes!" And there were these like people that would just come off the boat and come buy them, and they made the economy boom amazingly
So that's why people immigrated here for the Knish.
for the Kanish.
I have a question. Is the multiple of Knishes or Kanish?
Kanash.
Kanai.
Oh, okay.
It's just kanai. You just cut off like half the word. Just kanai.
Kanai.
It's like fungi.
Yeah.
Can I get a kanai? Alright, I'm sorry. I'll really
Cheese
back.
anchor, it's you guys.
But anyway, people immigrated from Israel to here, and they bought the Kanishes, and then just the entire like migration economy just like boomed, and they got out of the slums in New York just because of how much they were selling these Kanishes, and so I just figured that it was cool because just people buying a simple Kanish can start an entirely different separate economy in New York to get people out of slums and ghettos and stuff like that. But
I'm sorry, but you triggered me so much when you said Kanishes instead of Kanai.
well, Kanishes is the formal term, you know. If you want to have like an informal discussion, you can be like, "Hey, bro, have you bought that new Kanai lately?" But
Wait, no,
The
but
thing-
Kanai,
no, because
instead, in that term, would it be, have you got the new Kanish?
Yeah.
no, it would be
Would-
Kanai because if you
weren't
bought
we-
multiple of them,
Because I mean,
Okay,
wouldn't.
so how
wouldn't
many
you-
Kanai did you get?
7.
Okay.
Oh God.
Actually, 9 for every candle that's on the menorah.
Oh!
Well, the whole reason why it triggered me was because we were talking about whether the whole reason, like earlier we were talking about which way was the plural form for it, and you said kanai, like fungi, you know. So it kind of triggered me when you said Kanishes.
Well, I'm gonna refer to it as Kanishes from now on.
Gosh.
So
Okay.
Okay.
formal.
We're gonna lose our Jewish supporters here. I swear.
Yeah.
Well, we're running a little low on time, but we need to keep this going to Frank Costanza's greatest holiday of all time,
And that is?
Festivus. Do you know?
For the rest of us.
It's for the rest of us.
I've never heard of Festivus.
Oh, come on now.
I barely heard of it. Not much.
This makes
though.
me angry.
Now,
Sorry.
I don't even know where to start, Nate.
I mean, we should start with the story. I mean, not like Greeks and Romans the story, but like the start of when it got popularized. The start of the episode. you know?
Absolutely, Nate hit on a good point. Festivus isn't necessarily a new festival. It's not one that was solely created by Frank Costanza or Jerry Stiller, as he's also known. But it's been done for thousands of years, and it was the motivation, the spirit of it is everlasting. And that's where we are today in the modern times where things are often commercialized, which is ironic because that's why Festivus got to where it is because of the anti-commercialism. So, Raven, because you might not be as knowledgeable about the subject, one day Frank Costanza, he was out shopping.
Very intelligent man.
Above his time. And he was in a store. It was a hustle and bustle. It's the last minute. You can imagine a crazy department store. Now, the department store, Raven, is not Amazon. It's a place where you go and you buy things.
No, the department.
Oh, okay, I wasn't sure.
you remember Toys R Us, like way back in the day?
Too soon.
That hurt my heart. I used to go there all the time.
Really?
I never went to Toys R Us.
I always
I thought
used to
all you
Get all my
kids got it
gold
off.
Legos.
guys, I think
Gold Legos.
Hey, don't be talking about Legos like that.
Hey! Sorry, middle school thing. So back to my very serious discussion on Festivus. Frank is getting a doll for his son, and he reaches.
Wait.
Yeah, I said right. And
Wow,
he reaches.
do you have to gender a scene like that?
Yeah,
Jeez,
Raven,
Why
you have a
Raven.
problem?
Why can't young boys have dolls, Raven?
No.
Yeah.
No, because
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I didn't mean it
Societal
that way.
norms are.
No, like it's kind of. I don't know.
Here's your shovel. Keep going.
Let me stop.
R.I.P. So yeah, he went to reach for his last doll, the last toy at the department store, and someone else grabbed it, and they won at blows. And Frank said to himself, "There has to be another way," and there was.
December 23rd.
Festivus.
Every year, December 23rd. You just gotta, like, you can't have all this commercialism of Christmas, you know? It's gotten too commercialized over the years with Santa, presents, trees, toys.
And I swear, soon as, every year I swear I was like, it can't get any worse. And before I know it, it's, no joke, Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day stuff's out right now. I mean, Christmas stuff comes out in August. It's insane.
Like right after Halloween.
No, right
No,
before
I mean-
Halloween.
Yeah, before
Halloween.
Halloween.
I know like a lot of people are starting to skip Thanksgiving, like just putting stuff out for Thanksgiving.
Why would you ever do that?
Yeah.
I mean, people
don't-
will be here for another day.
People don't celebrate it, but if you, like, Christmas stuff isn't directly after. Anyway.
I just like the food.
But it's to get back on track, Festivus, is a popular secular holiday on 23rd before Christmas Eve, and it's an alternative to the pressures of capitalism and commercialism, consuming, the hustle and bustle, and so it's a great way to get together with friends and family and just really set aside a lot of these, everyday commodities that we have during the holiday season. So in an alternative to a Christmas tree with lights and tinsel and ornaments and a star and it goes on.
All these like hundreds of dollars you could be spending.
I mean, the
on
tree,
this tree.
the tree alone's $100+. So Nate, what do we have instead?
Well, you gotta like just go into your basement, right, and just find an aluminum pole. Don't put anything on it though. Like that is against the rules. If you put anything on this aluminum pole, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, no lights.
So is
No
this
lights,
like
no tinsel.
Is this like a Christmas DIY?
No.
It's Festivus.
I still don't
So,
understand.
It's a holiday.
So what we were just
I know
saying.
it's a holiday.
So what we were just saying, like all this consumerism, it's for the people that are tired of, you have to buy a gift in order to say I love you on Christmas
Okay.
or whatever. It's the, hey, I love you every day no matter what. So come to my house, we're going to eat
Meatloaf dinner.
and we're going to hang around our pole. That came out weird, but you guys,
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. So Frank's my favorite line in that whole episode. Frank's tossing. He's asking the same questions, and he's like, "What do you have? A tree?" He's like, "What do you put on it? Tinsel or something?" He's like, "No, I find tinsel distracting." So there's nothing on it. It's just the pole, and yeah.
And what's actually interesting about this is it didn't just start from a Seinfeld episode. We have a book here about Festivus, and I was reading a little bit into it, and it actually started with Jerry Stiller's actual family celebrating a holiday called Festivus. And now it's actually within itself, ironically, become commercialized.
I know, that's what I was saying. I was
With, with people doing such as like disc golf tournaments in Oregon is what I found, and there's a bunch of other like just little events that come around and they celebrate Festivus, and it's not as commercialized as Christmas. You don't see,
Of
you
course,
don't
of
look
course.
on your TV and Target's advertising aluminum poles, but
Which is
it's-
great because it makes me end up like for my Festivus cards. I send my dad a Festivus card, and included is his gift certificate for the Human Fund. So in another episode, Raven's like, okay, the Human Fund. So in another episode of the Seinfeld, the book. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. The boys are pointing at all kinds of stuff. George makes a card and gives a donation to his boss, Kruger at the time, with a fake nonprofit called the Human Fund. And he ends up getting busted for it. But it's just something fun to send out. And so you have to make these cards. You have to make these things. And that's really the heart of Festivus. Now, the best part of Festivus, in my opinion, is Festivus Day. The airing of grievances.
feats of
The
strength.
feats of strength. Now, the feats of strength is often a very daunting task. It could go well into the new year. Because you're not you're not allowed to leave the party or the dinner without pinning the head of the household.
Usually the father figure.
What do you mean pinning?
Pinning, like you
Like
know,
like
wrestling.
you're fighting them and you have to
Right.
pin them to the ground and count to 3 and then
You
you
can
win.
leave.
And now you're the head until next Festivus somebody has to fight you.
Mhm.
And my only
And it's like a
knowledge-
giant once a year
Mhm.
fighting tournament.
Is there a way of getting out of that?
No.
No,
you don't
it-
show up to the party.
It just goes on
Just
and
go.
on
What
and
about the
on
end of,
and
like, the
on.
day? Could you leave after? Or
Is the
No.
head of the household pinned?
No.
Then you
I
can't
No.
Another interesting thing, we're running low on time, but I do
Mhm.
want to talk about it, are foods of Festivus. I talked about foods of Hanukkah earlier. And in this book, right, I'm looking here, right? And here's just a punch bowl, right? It says
Oh, the shrimp with the Festivus poles.
it's filled with baking soda, okay? And you just stick nails inside of raw shrimp, and you make like a dipping sauce out of apricot jam, horseradish, chili sauce, and whole grain mustard.
That sounds delicious.
And
You know,
so-
besides
and so
the
you
shrimp,
just-
I mean, that sounds pretty solid.
And so you just have like this shrimp with a nail in it.
It's supposed to be the Festivus pole, though.
And it's supposed to be a Festivus pole, but I mean, it really just looks like a nail. But the good thing about it is you have to boil your nails for safety.
Oh, of course. I mean, you're gonna eat unsanitized nails?
I mean,
Wow.
why wouldn't you? I mean, you eat ham with 32 junior mints on the outside of it. Why wouldn't you just eat an unsanitized nail?
Now, I have to add though that junior mint glaze also comes with a peach snapple, to really create the glaze within it, and it's quite divine. Peach and mint, you can't go wrong. You know, one of the biggest things, and not to go off sidetrack too much, but the thing that I respect the most of the holiday tradition for Festivus is the airing of grievances. You know, so many times we have problems with people and we just bottle them up, and then you're always kind of cold to them, or you just let it eat it up. At the end of the year, the airing of grievances takes place immediately after the Festivus dinner. And as Frank says, I got a lot of problems with you people, and now you're going to hear it. And he just goes off telling people his grievances, and you get it off your shoulder, and you feel good about yourself, because people are too fake. They hold this stuff in.
It's a really good feeling.
I do it to my class almost daily, and it feels great. You can see they really don't like that too much.
No, I enjoy it. Yeah, I like.
I haven't even noticed it.
Oh, trust me, I get called 32 different things daily. I mean, I could be an elongated episode. I could be a math equation. I could be
You're
anything
a
I
math
wanted to be,
equation.
according to Mr. Mitro.
I just get a sigh.
Yeah. Well, it's realistic.
You're realistic.
Thank you. One last food I want to touch up on here before we get close to the end of the day
Yeah,
is with your Festivus pole, you have to stuff it with chocolate salami. Is what I'm reading here.
Oh, that's actually not bad.
And I'm looking at it here, and it doesn't look bad.
No, is it the non-cooked ones, or do you have to bake them?
No, it says don't bake it. I mean, yeah, no, it says don't bake it.
Okay.
What is chocolate salami?
Well, I'll tell you right here. I got the
I'm
ingredients.
glad you asked, Charlie.
Oh, nice.
Right now, you're about to win a chocolate salami with...
With 4 ounces of plain butter cookies, 2 egg yolks, 1 cup of sugar, 1 stick of unsalted butter, 1 cup of cocoa, 2 tablespoons of orange liqueur. Not for you. Just like put like some orange something in there.
Julius.
You know?
Orange soda.
Orange Crush.
Yeah, it's just like dump an entire 2-gallon of crush in there, and then ginger snaps, cocoa nibs, and you put it inside of this pole. It makes like a paste, and you gotta like dump it inside of the pole.
Can't you get like salmonella from it since you're putting like
Yes, you get
egg?
salmons out of it.
No, salmon.
Have you eaten raw cookie dough?
No.
Have you eaten raw eggs?
When my brother did it, he got salmonella.
Oh,
Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Raw
I've
cookie
never
dough.
met anyone that. I mean, I believe it obviously because. Well, I'm not going to go on about the CDC, but apparently you can get sick from raw cookie dough. But yeah, it looks like we're running out of time, and you know, I actually really enjoyed the fact we did Hanukkah and Festivus as our first holiday. Raven's like, cool, why was I here?
We could also just.
I mean, we got a solid 30 minutes in. Each podcast has been
yeah,
going.
this
We're gonna
is-
get Christmas trees.
All right, guys. We appreciate you listening. As always, stay tuned for any edits or additional material underneath each link. We try to keep up to date and correct any information because this is always improvised. We have no scripts.
Have a happy Hanukkah, a Merry Festivus, a Merry Christmas, a Merry Kwanzaa, and a Happy New Year for everybody.
Oh,
that
happy
celebrates.
Yule.
Happy
Just
Happy
be
Yule
happy.
for all my
Just
pagan friends
Don't
out there.
worry. Be happy.
Just every holiday you want to celebrate or you have to celebrate, just have a good one.
And at the end of the day, if you're not a holiday person, a friendly smile will do. Thank you
If
guys
you're
so
not a
much.
holiday person, Festivus works.
Yeah, that's pretty much where it goes. Thanks, guys. Bye.